we're back at the bottom again today with the second half of a video that I made a while ago. The best Pokemon for your Hoenn team. The last time that we covered this topic, we were strolling through the Sapphire variants of Hoenn. Well, today, we're going to raise the insurance prices because we're turning things red as we check the Ruby side of things. So then, let's get to the top of things. How do we find out who the best Pokemon are anyway? Well, it uses a formula ranking matchups from 4 to -4. And with all the data we have, we can find out who truly is the best. So then let's brighten things up and create a clear view on the top 6 best Pokemon for your Hoenn team. Pokemon Ruby Edition. So the funny thing about this first Pokemon, it has the same score as it does in Pokemon Sapphire. Alright, so then how did it even make it into this list instead of Pokemon Sapphire? Well, that's a great question from the person that sounds like me downstairs. Basically, the Dark type remains unchanged between the two versions. The results are actually just lower in Ruby than they are in Sapphire. So what you need to do is head off east from Fortree City to find yourself an Absol. Absol's pressure won't be seen right away until you get to the latter portion of the game, or you just happen to have the ability Pressure. The good news is about Absol is that it doesn't really have that lousy of a matchup throughout its time on your team. Brawly's way back in Dewford Town at this point in time. With no Bug-type gym leader and all the Bug catchers early game, you would avoid the Bug-type, and with the Fairy-type not in the game yet, you don't really need to worry about the weaknesses at all. Just the resistances. Just take a look at this list. Absol finally gets to shine against Liza and Tate, while in the Pokemon League, it can deal with Phoebe. It can also deal with Sydney in a vacuum, but it also sucks as it just becomes a stalemate of resistances. All in all, if you're looking for a Pokemon to not have many drawbacks, Absol is the Mon! The next Pokemon is going to set a theme here. It's going to use a lot of water. Oh, I got water everywhere. That's what changes about Ruby to Sapphire. It's the evil teams that throw off the scores between games. We're going to keep it with the Dark-type theme and head over to Route 118, where after you defeat your own father, you can pick up the Good Rod from the fishermen on the eastern shore. Fish either on Route 102, 117, Petalburg City, in this toilet... Wait, no, don't do that. Corphish is the Pokemon you should be hooking here to evolve into Crawdaunt, as it has the same advantages as Absol did, Liza and Tate as well as Phoebe. But with the Water type, it basically makes it so it floods out Team Magma, which elevates its results to another level. The thing is, you want a balanced team, so it all depends on what fits better. Absol, Crawdaunt, or that shirt that shrunk in the wash. Take your pick. The only dragon between the two lists lands at the north end of Route 115. After getting Surf, you can head out to grab a Swablu, whom you can evolve into Altaria later on. But why does Dragon suck against the trainers of Hoenn? Well, that's just how things line up. Realistically, the only reason why Altaria is even on this list because of its resistances. The only matchup where it excels is it's prone to being knocked out by its own type of dragon thanks to Drake. It resists May, Team Magma, and Wallace, other than his Celio and Milotic's Ice Beam, but at what cost does that make? Altaria still struggles against Liza and Tate's Rock-type Psychics, Glacia's Ice-types, and Steven's Steel-types. That's just how it is in Hoenn. It might be a strong type in Kanto and Johto, but in Hoenn, it has to rely on withstanding the hits instead of dishing it out. And the dishes it makes are quite bad.
The Dutch Bank! Oh my god, leave it, leave it, leave it!
Without having to worry about the water, Aggron actually does pretty well in Ruby. All you gotta do is head off to Granite Cave near Dewford, catch one, and then proceed to box it for the next gym battle. Do so, or prepare to get a dustpan to pick up your shattered remains of your Aeron. You're probably wondering how a Steel type can be among the best in Ruby, where there are a lot of Fire types to face, and yeah, that is kinda an issue, but the Rock type actually covers it in this case, meaning that it does actually okay versus Team Magma until you run into anybody with a Pokemon from the Camerupt family. Proceed to your nearest fire extinguisher if that occurs. Against the rest of the gym leaders, it holds its own, resisting the likes of Norman and Liza and Tate, while taking out the Trash, aka Flannery, and Winona. Just, once again, please keep it away from Wallace. It's a key component in the Pokemon League though, taking on nearly the entire league, resisting Sydney, Phoebe, and Steven, while being effective against Glacia and Drake, who in the latter of the two, you need to find other means against his multitude of Flygons. but if you want someone to fill that ground/physical role, Aggron is definitely a pretty good choice. This is the only starter on this list, and when it's against the fire-happy matchups of Pokemon Ruby, it's no surprise you want to start with Mudkip to get that Swampert to completely put out those flames. Like, Team Magma isn't really a problem with this pick, as both the water and ground type clean them all up every battle. It's only when you face May on Route 110, Winona, and Sydney that you have trouble. May because that Route 110 battle is notorious for you wanting to throw your game out the window. Winona because you can't really touch your flying types with a ground type, and Sydney because he decided to have a green thumb for some reason and have grass types. All the while, you can take solace in the fact that you can deal with Roxanne, Watson, Flannery, and Steven without a doubt. And before we find out who the best Pokemon is in Pokemon Ruby, let's look through some honorable mentions. Magneton was one of the best in Pokemon Sapphire, but without the water type in this game from Team Aqua, it just melts from the fire types of Team Magma. Kingdra probably would have been the best dragon type if it wasn't for Altaria's immunities. Medicham, it's caught too late to take advantage of any of the type matchups. Groudon, the best legendary Pokemon of Pokemon Ruby, but once you get it, it gets shut down by a lot of things, especially in its first and only gym battle against Wallace. Groudon can't take a fight versus water types. What do you think it is? Pokemon Omega Ruby? But who is the best Pokemon for your Hoenn team in Ruby? Let's find out! Just like in its sister game, we have a Pokemon that's caught early on again. Although this time, it ends up being the Seagull. No, that's a streamer. I meant Wingull. Wingull is probably the best typing for Pokemon Ruby, and when it evolves, it can actually tank a lot more things. Just look at these matches. Again, no, wrong object. I'm talking about trainers. Thank you. As you can see, mixing the water type and the flying type actually turns Hoenn upside down. And looking at these matchups here, you're able to tell why. Can we please fix my camera? It's making my voice sound different. With its flying typing, it were able to soar past Brawly, while with its water typing, it's able to hang 10 with the likes of Flannery, Liza and Tate, and Team Magma, and to an extent, Roxanne. But all she want to do is party all night, so keep a close eye on your HP. It's not all clear skies though. Pelipper struggles against even Steven, and especially Watson. If you want fried chicken, you can leave it out against him. Here, I even have this rotisserie for your chicken. I know I won't though, because here, we're trying to figure out the best of Hoenn, and I think we truly have. We're now wrapping up Hoenn here. Well, for now. Eventually, we're gonna come back with both Emerald and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Until then, Sinnoh is our next destination. With a lot of options, and lacking a lot of fire types, it should be an interesting list. Keep your eye out for that. And if you want to make it back to the top to see it, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. With that though, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you back at the top later on, because that's how we do what. Do you mind? Stop turning my camera upside down here.